My name is Alina Vance, and I am 32 years old living in the beautiful and busy city of Austin, Texas. For a long time, I thought I had everything figured out in this city of live music and hot summer nights. I worked as a senior marketing specialist for a technology firm, and I took pride in my ability to organize chaos into something beautiful. My life was stable, and I was happy with my small apartment near Lady Bird Lake, where I would run every morning as the sun came up over the water. But everything changed when I met a man named Marcus. Marcus was 34 years old, and he had a smile that could make you forget your own name. He was brilliant and charming, and he was working on his Doctor of Philosophy in Computer Science at the University of Texas. The only problem was that Marcus was already in a relationship. He had been with a woman named Sarah for 7 years. When we first met at a small coffee shop on South Congress Avenue, I told him that I could not be with him. I told him that I would love him from a distance because I did not want to be the person who broke up a long-term relationship. I told him he should stay in his conventional life and I would just be a friend. But Marcus was persistent, and he told me that his relationship with Sarah was failing and that they were only together out of habit. Soon things became very complicated between us. We started spending every single day together. We became proper partners in every sense of the word. We had the kind of companionship and physical intimacy that I had never experienced before. We talked for hours about our dreams and our fears. I felt like I had finally found my soulmate, even though the situation was messy. In the beginning, Marcus told me that he was not thinking of marrying anyone. He said marriage was just a piece of paper that did not matter to him. When I asked him if he would consider being with me officially if I invited him into my life, he said he would think about it. Our timeline ran from August all the way through January. By the time October and November rolled around, Marcus made it clear to me that I would eventually have to break up with him. He told me that we should probably end things around March. This was a strange and cruel thing to say, but he kept me so close to him the whole time that I could not bear to leave. I saw so many red flags during those months. He would hide his phone when Sarah called, and he would make excuses for why he could not spend the night. I wanted to walk away so many times, but I was deeply attached to him. I decided to just go with the flow and hope that he would eventually choose me. During this time, the stress of the secret relationship started to destroy me. I developed terrible anxiety, and I could not sleep at night. I fell into a deep depression, and I started taking medications just to get through the day. I made Marcus the absolute center of my world. I spent all of my free time helping him with his Doctor of Philosophy work. I was the one who stayed up until 3 o'clock in the morning cleaning up his data and editing his long chapters. I did his research, and I organized his citations while he slept soundly. I was catering to his every need, and I totally lost my own identity in the process. My performance at my job started to slip because I was so focused on making sure Marcus succeeded. I was exhausted and hollow, and I did not recognize the woman looking back at me in the mirror. By December, I had a complete mental collapse. I could not stop crying, and my heart felt like it was being squeezed by a giant hand. I was admitted to the hospital for 5 days because I simply could not function anymore. While I was in the hospital, I had a very honest conversation with a doctor. After 5 days of therapy, the doctor looked me in the eyes and told me that I had to break up with Marcus if I wanted to survive. He told me that this relationship was a poison that was killing my spirit. So I did what the doctor asked, and I broke up with Marcus on the 2nd of January. Marcus was not happy about it. He insisted that we stick to his original plan of breaking up in March, but for the first time, I held my ground. I told him it was over and I went home to try and rebuild my life. It has been several months since that day, and I have spent almost every single day crying. I missed him so much that it felt like a physical pain in my chest. I felt like a throwaway person that he had used until he did not need me anymore. But this month, something changed inside of me. The sadness started to turn into a deep and burning sense of anger. I looked at the news, and I saw that Marcus had successfully received his Doctor of Philosophy. He got the degree that I had worked so hard on. He used my brain and my hours of labor to get that title. Then I found out that he had been promoted at his research job, and he was getting married to Sarah in just a few months. It felt like a slap in the face. I had lost my job because I was too depressed to work, and I was still struggling with emotional stress shocks. I was in pain every day while he was out there living his best life, using the success I helped him build. I felt like he had discarded me like a piece of trash once I was no longer useful to him. We were in no contact, but then he sent me a text message that made my blood boil. He told me that after a few years the pain would go away and we could be close friends again. He sounded so smug and so sure of himself. I hated myself for a long time because my friends and my family had warned me about him. They told me he was using me, but I did not listen. Now they were not surprised at how things turned out, but I was the one left in the wreckage. I decided that I wanted to get back at him. I did not want to ruin his entire life or do anything illegal, but I wanted him to understand the weight of what he had done to me. I wanted him to feel just a fraction of the powerlessness I felt when he discarded me. I spent weeks thinking about the best way to handle this. I knew that Marcus was planning a big celebration for his promotion and his new degree at a fancy venue in downtown Austin. He wanted to show off his success to all of his colleagues and his family. He was going to give a speech about his research and how hard he had worked to achieve his goals. This was my opportunity. I remembered that I still had access to his cloud storage where he kept all of his research files because I was the one who set it up for him. I also had the original drafts of his thesis that were filled with my notes and my specific writing style. I knew that Marcus was a lazy researcher and that he had taken a lot of shortcuts. He had relied on me to fix his mistakes and to make his data look better than it actually was. I did not want to get his degree revoked because that seemed too harsh, but I did want to expose the truth of how he got it. I started by reaching out to a few people in the local tech community that I knew from my old job. I told them that I was looking for work and that I had some interesting insights into the latest research coming out of the university. I managed to get myself invited to the same professional networking event where Marcus was going to be the guest of honor. I spent a lot of money on a new dress that made me feel powerful and confident. I did my hair and my makeup, and I looked like the successful woman I used to be before I met him. When I walked into the venue, the air was thick with the smell of expensive perfume and appetizers. I saw Marcus standing near the stage in a very expensive suit. He looked happy and proud, and Sarah was standing right next to him looking like the perfect supportive partner. It hurt to see them together, but I pushed the pain down and replaced it with determination. I waited for the moment when Marcus was called to the stage to give his presentation. He stood behind the microphone and started talking about his amazing discoveries in the field of computer science. He talked about the long nights and the dedication it took to finish his Doctor of Philosophy. He never once mentioned that he had help. He never mentioned the woman who stayed up all night doing the work while he slept. As he started his slideshow, I slipped toward the back of the room where the technical crew was managing the screen. I had a small flash drive in my hand that contained a very special video. I had spent the last week editing together a time-stamped history of the documents he had presented as his own. I had screenshots of our text messages where he begged me to finish his chapters for him because he did not understand the math. I had recordings of him telling me that he would never have finished without me. I also had the original metadata from the files showing that I was the primary author on the most important parts of his work. I did not want to stop his speech, but I wanted to add a little bit of truth to it. I whispered to the young man running the projector that there was a last-minute update to the presentation and that Marcus had asked me to load it up. The young man was busy and did not think to double-check with anyone else. He took my flash drive and plugged it in. Suddenly, the screen behind Marcus changed. Instead of his charts and graphs, it showed a series of text messages. The whole room went quiet as they read Marcus asking me to do his research because he was too tired to go to the library. Then it showed a video of me sitting at my kitchen table, surrounded by his books, while I explained a complex algorithm to him like he was a child. The final slide was a simple message that said behind every great man is a woman he used and discarded. Marcus turned around and saw the screen and his face went completely white. He tried to stammer out an explanation, but the words would not come. Sarah looked at the screen and then looked at Marcus with a look of pure confusion and horror. People in the audience started whispering and taking out their phones to record what was happening. I did not stay to watch the rest. I walked out of the venue and into the cool Austin night air. I felt like a massive weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I knew that he would probably keep his job and his degree, but everyone in his professional circle now knew the truth. They knew he was not the genius he claimed to be. They knew he was a fraud who had stepped on someone else to get to the top. When I got home, I deleted his number and blocked him on every single platform. I also deleted my access to his cloud storage because I did not need to look at his life anymore. I started focusing on my own recovery. I went back to my doctor and told him what I had done, and he actually smiled. He said that standing up for myself was the best medicine I could have taken. I started applying for new jobs, and within a few weeks I had 3 interviews lined up. My energy was coming back and I was sleeping through the night again. A few days later, I received an email from Marcus through an old account I had forgotten to block. He was furious and told me that I had embarrassed him in front of his entire industry. He said that Sarah was questioning everything and that their wedding was now on hold. He called me names and told me I was crazy. I did not reply. I simply printed out the email and added it to a folder of evidence just in case I ever needed it. I realized that the best revenge was not just exposing him, but also becoming the best version of myself again. I started running by the lake again, and I joined a support group for people who had been in emotionally abusive relationships. I learned that I was not alone, and that what Marcus did to me was a pattern of behavior called narcissistic discard. Understanding the science behind my pain helped me heal faster. I stopped blaming myself for being a victim and started praising myself for being a survivor. I also started working as a consultant for other students who were struggling with their thesis work, but this time I got paid for my expertise. I turned my pain into a business, and I was making more money than I ever had at my old marketing job. One afternoon, I was sitting at a cafe in downtown Austin when I saw Sarah walking down the street. She looked sad and tired, and she was not wearing her engagement ring anymore. Part of me felt sorry for her, but another part of me felt relieved that she had found out the truth before she married him. She saw me, and for a second we made eye contact. She did not look angry at me. She just gave a small nod and kept walking. I think she finally understood that I was not her enemy. Marcus was the one who had played both of us. As the months went by, the anger I felt toward Marcus began to fade away into indifference. He was no longer the center of my world, and he no longer had any power over my emotions. I had reclaimed my life and my happiness. I learned that I am a brilliant and capable woman who does not need to hide in the shadows of a man who does not appreciate me. I also learned that revenge does not have to be about destruction. Sometimes revenge is just about making sure the truth is told so that you can finally move on. I am now 33 years old, and I am in a much better place than I was a year ago. I have a great job, a beautiful apartment, and friends who actually care about my well-being. I am no longer taking medication for anxiety because I have found peace within myself. Looking back on the whole experience, I realized that Marcus did me a favor by discarding me. He showed me that I was stronger than I ever knew. He showed me that I have a voice and that I am not afraid to use it. I will never let anyone treat me like a throwaway person ever again. I am Alina Vance, and I am the author of my own story now. The city of Austin is still hot and loud and full of life, but now I am right there in the middle of it, living for myself. I sometimes think about that night at the gala, and I have to smile. It was the moment I stopped being a victim and started being the hero of my own life. I do not hate Marcus anymore because hate is still a form of attachment. I feel nothing for him at all, and that is the greatest victory of all. I have learned to trust my instincts again and to listen to the people who love me. My family and my friends were right all along, and I am glad they were there to catch me when I fell. I know that the road to recovery is long, but I am well on my way. I have started a blog where I share my story to help other women who might be in the same situation. I want them to know that it is possible to get back on your feet after being treated like trash. I want them to know that their intelligence and their hard work belong to them and no one else. Every time I get a message from a woman saying my story helped her, it feels better than any revenge ever could. I have turned my mess into a message and my pain into a purpose. Marcus thought he could use me up and throw me away, but he did not realize that I was the one holding all the power. He was just a small chapter in a very long and beautiful book that I am still writing. I am proud of the woman I have become, and I am excited for the future. The Texas sun is shining down on me, and for the first time in a long time, I feel like I am exactly where I am supposed to be. I am no longer the woman who cries every day in the dark. I am the woman who stepped into the light and took her power back, and that is a story worth telling over and over again. I hope that Marcus is learning how to do his own work now because he no longer has me to carry him. I hope he realizes that a title or a promotion is meaningless if you did not earn it yourself. But honestly, it does not matter what he thinks or what he does. My life is mine again, and that is all that matters. I have learned to love the sound of my own voice and the strength of my own mind. I am Alina Vance, and I am finally free. As I sit here writing this, I can hear the sounds of the city outside my window. There are people laughing and cars driving by, and the faint sound of music from a nearby club. It is a reminder that life goes on, and that change is always possible. I think about the many nights I spent crying over a man who did not deserve a single tear. I think about how much time I wasted trying to be enough for someone who was never going to be enough for himself. But I do not regret any of it because it brought me here. It brought me to this moment of clarity and strength. I am a different person now, and I like this version of myself much better. I am more careful with my heart, but I am also more open to the world. I know how to set boundaries, and I know how to walk away when something is not right. I am no longer afraid of being alone because I have learned that I am very good company. I have my books and my work and my runs by the lake. I have a life that I built with my own 2 hands, and no one can take that away from me. If Marcus ever tries to contact me again, I will not even feel the urge to look at the message. He is a ghost from a past life, and ghosts cannot hurt you unless you let them. I have closed that door and locked it tight. I am moving forward into a future that is bright and full of possibility. I have realized that the best way to get back at someone who discarded you is to show them that you are irreplaceable. By reclaiming my intellect and my success, I showed him exactly what he lost. He did not just lose a girlfriend or a helper. He lost the person who made his success possible. And now, he has to face the world as the mediocre man he truly is. While I get to face the world as the brilliant woman I have always been. The journey was hard and the pain was real, but the destination was worth it. I am standing tall in Austin, Texas, and I am never looking back. I am finally living for me, and it feels wonderful. My story is not one of sadness anymore, but one of triumph. I have taken the broken pieces of my heart and turned them into armor. I am stronger, wiser, and happier than I have ever been. And that is the best revenge anyone could ever ask for. I hope that everyone who hears my story knows that they have the power to change their own life too. No matter how low you feel or how discarded you think you are, you can always find your way back. You are not a throwaway person, and you are not a footnote in someone else's life. You are the main character, and you have the power to write a brand new ending. I am living proof of that, and I am just getting started. The world is big, and there is so much more to see and do. I am going to travel and meet new people and do work that I am truly passionate about. I am going to find a love that is honest and kind and does not require me to lose myself. But until then, I am perfectly happy being exactly who I am. Alina Vance is back, and she is better than ever. The city is mine, and the future is mine, and I am ready for whatever comes next. I am taking a deep breath of the Texas air, and I am smiling because I know that the best is yet to come. I have finally found my way home to myself.